According to the 2010 U.S. Census taken from census.gov, there are 106,769 people who currently live in Rochester, Minnesota, which is a 24% increase from the 2000 census. Our population here in our city is growing at a rate 3 times faster than the state of Minnesota. And the size of the population isn't the only changes that we're seeing. The demographics of our population have shifted dramatically over the years as well. In 2000, according to the census, 87% of people living in Rochester identified as white. And this number actually decreased in 2010 to just 83%. While there was a decrease in the percentage of the white population here in Rochester, there was an increase in the percentage of Black, Asian, and Hispanic persons living in the city. In this short amount of time, we as a city have felt the increase in diversity and the effects. Change is never easy, and it's certain that this one has not been for everybody. According to Vanjie Castro, the Youth Education Program Director at the Diversity Council, this organization was created in response to the shift in demographics and the racial tensions that were rising. Today I'll discuss the background information of the Diversity Council, including their mission, vision, goals, and objectives, and I'll go into detail about some of the ways in which they seek to achieve their goals and objectives. Originally known as Building Equality Together, the Diversity Council was founded in 1989 by members of the Rochester Public Schools in response to the shift in demographics and the rise in racial tensions in the city. The need to combat racism and discrimination was recognized, and so this organization was formed. Since then, the mission of the Diversity Council has been to educate people to embrace diversity as a foundation for building a healthy, inclusive, and prosperous community. And this can be found on their website, diversitycouncil.org, additionally, which I have on the screen here, and also on some of the printed materials that they provide at their office. Although this organization began from the need to combat racism, Vanjie explained to us during our interview that their scope really has broadened over the years to include more than just race. They also seek to educate and inform community members about issues of religion, gender, sexual orientation, and various other protected classes that are included under the diversity umbrella. And there really are 4 main goals and objectives of the Diversity Council according to their website, diversitycouncil.org, and their printed brochures. Number 1, to educate the community through programs and to build awareness and understanding to foster inclusion here in the city. 2nd, to collaborate with others to promote diversity. 3rd, to communicate accurate information and to challenge stereotypes to increase the value that we place on diversity. And last, to celebrate the diversity that we can find here in our city. And there are several specific ways that the Diversity Council seeks to achieve these goals, which will lead me to discuss the educational programming that they offer. Switch here. According to their website and their printed brochures, like I have here, there are 3 main educational programs offered through the Diversity Council. First of all, there's the SPARK program, which is led by Vanjie. We were all able to participate in a SPARKS training last week with her, and so we got a little bit of a glimpse of what that looks like. Charlie's going to discuss this program more in depth a little later, so I won't say much about it, except that it's a K-12 youth program that's provided in the schools to promote acceptance and teach about diversity. The second program that the Diversity Council offers is called the Get Smart Mindset Training for Parents. This program was modeled from a program developed by the Efficacy Institute. And the goal is to help parents help their students learn and achieve at higher levels, which really stems from the belief that all students really can do so. Every student has the ability to learn and achieve at high levels if they're taught efficacious behaviors. The point is to teach kids to work smarter, not harder, and for parents to become active participants in their children's education. And the final program offered by the Diversity Council is a corporate training program called Becoming the Solution. This is a customizable program that organizations can utilize to meet their employees' needs and essentially increase productivity and increase their bottom line by teaching employees how to work together and accept diverse people in the workplace. Workshop offerings through this program include optimizing differences, honoring cultures, and the power of words. And then under these umbrella categories, there are various topics that organizations can pick and choose from that will help meet their needs and meet their employees' needs. Recently, the Diversity Council has also begun work on an anti-bullying campaign that's begun to make its way into schools. Vanjie has just concluded her tenure on the governor's anti-bullying task force, and now she's bringing that knowledge and experience here into Rochester and into this program. She had a great deal to say about this during our interview with her. As a teacher, one of the biggest questions that I have is, how do we even begin to tackle such a complex and compound problem? What is it that we can do? And she stated, this is a complex issue and there are lots of components that go into the solution, but one of the main things that we can do for our kids is to teach kids how to intervene and become advocates. Adults and community members absolutely need to be involved in this process, but for it to really be effective, students need to learn how to step in, and they need to be taught how to stop these behaviors. It's not acceptable to be a victim or a bystander. Students have to be advocates, along with their parents and their teachers. I know it's an important element of the Diversity Council. Education certainly isn't their only goal. They're an active presence in our community here. They sponsor or co-sponsor a wide array of events that celebrate diversity and are open to the public. Their website here, diversitycouncil.org, has a calendar of events that take place here in the city and a calendar of multicultural holidays. Recently, some of the events that they've been involved in include co-sponsoring Rochester Pride Fest, which is for the LGBT community and their allies. Just yesterday, they were actually part of a peace lantern floating ceremony at Silver Lake to commemorate the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And there are several ongoing events, such as the International Film Series at the Public Library, the International Speakers Luncheon at the YMCA, and the Mosque Open House on the last Saturday of every month that takes place at the very mosque that we visited 2 weeks ago. We all had the opportunity to meet some members of the Muslim community, and from our conversation yesterday, it was clear that there's a lot of interest in this topic for various reasons. And so thanks to the Diversity Council and the mosque, we can actually go there on the last Saturday of every month, and we can continue our learning process and continue making those steps towards inclusion and even moving beyond tolerance and going to the next step, which is acceptance. These events are a fundamental part of what the Diversity Council does, and it's really important that they offer this wide array that reflects who our population is here in Rochester. According to the 2009 American Community Survey, which can be found on the Diversity Council's website, over 80% of our foreign-born citizens here in Rochester come from countries other than Europe or North America, continents other than Europe or North America, excuse me. And these are the places with which white citizens are likely the most familiar. And so it's important that these events reflect the 80% of foreign-born citizens who don't come from North America or Europe, so that we can continue learning about them and become familiar, so we move towards acceptance and inclusion. And we can continue to close this knowledge gap. To fulfill their goal of communication, the Diversity Council has this website here that not only has the calendar of events, but also provides resources, statistics, and information on how to get involved. And I just wanted to take a minute here to point out some of the features. Under this education tab, you can find information on the 3 programs that I've discussed: Spark, Get Smart, and Becoming the Solution. There's a new tab here about ending bullying that gives lots of interesting, sometimes sad facts about bullying here. Here's the Events and Holidays tab, and I'll click on this so that you can see. So it gives this list here. Here's the Peace Lantern floating ceremony that I mentioned, and they update this pretty regularly. And it goes, you can see that there's a lot that happens here in Rochester. And over on the side here are the ongoing events, and if you click here, you can click on the multicultural calendar and learn about some of the holidays that are represented here in Rochester. In addition, You can find resources, and this is where I found some statistics on our demographics. You can find some statistics on, or you can find information for teachers, information about our local ethnic groups. If you're looking for contacts, this information is here as well. So there's just a wide array of useful information here that they provide, including how to get involved, how to volunteer, or if you just want to support them financially. The Diversity Council also has a multimedia lending library where films about diversity issues can be checked out. Then, to fulfill their goal of collaboration, the Diversity Council partners with several organizations, such as ACLA, which we had some experience with a couple of years ago, the Bias Hate Crime Incident Team, which is very new and which Vanjie will actually be a part of, the Racial Equity Network, and the Community Inclusion Campaign. And again, down here under resources, you can learn more information about some of those organizations. So we asked Vanjie whether she thought there'd be a continued need for the Diversity Council going forward in Rochester's future, and she gave us an emphatic yes. Our community continues to shift and change, and like I said, change is hard. But through education and awareness, the Diversity Council seeks to make that change easier. And she also pointed out that even though we've come a long way, we've still a long ways to go. There are still economic and educational disparities that are connected to race. There are still misconceptions about the generalized other. And students are facing more problems and pressures than ever before. And as a community, we can address these issues and become stronger and better and begin to look at our diversity as an asset instead of a liability. And the Diversity Council is a champion for this cause.